nothing to do with black immigrants from Africa, from the Caribbean, or wherever in the hell they came from. Well, I come here and I pay my taxes. When you come to America, you sign on to whatever is going on in America. You are a newcomer. You don't get to come here and make decisions about what's going on. And just because somebody sticks a microphone in your face and asks you what you think, you need to do like the actor from Uganda, David, whatever his name is. He said, I don't try to be an authority on black Americans' business. That's the right approach. I don't try to be a spokesperson for black Americans. That's what he said. That's the right approach. Because people are so concerned about what's going on in black America. They're more concerned about what's going on in black America than they are in what's going on in their own homeland, which is what they need to be concerned about. So, okay, listen to this.
And there were slaves in the Caribbean, and we
didn't qualify for the American reparations.
Well, here's the challenge. There are so many difficulties with trying to enact reparations, in part because the question is who gets them. Potentially, I could fall into that category. I honestly have called a pipe dream in the past, and I think that's what it is.
Well, it would be nice if there was an elegant, simple solution to all sorts of complicated problems. You're not actually talking about how to fix those problems if you're only talking about reparations, if we're only debating that happened more than a century ago. And we're probably never going to do this. It's not clear to me why we're pursuing this thing.
Is it fair that there's no reparations, no restitution, nothing?
Should the Irish get reparations, by the way? Irish need not apply signs when they came here during the Progressive era. Sure. I mean, how far do we want to take this down? Are we acknowledging that there are ugly spots in history? Because 60% of the world would be entitled to slave reparations if you wanted to play that game.
Well, here's a fact. Slavery ended 154 years ago. It's been a long, long time since we had slavery in this country. And you have people like my family. I'm black, but my family came to the United States in 1962. My parents are from Costa Rica. Do I get a check?
I did a couple of essay contests that I actually won. And I won like NAACP AXO award for this essay and something else. I can't remember another, like I ended up winning money. And the essay was, do you think black people should get reparations? And I was like, no, you didn't work for it.
Why are you so against reparations?
Valerie, it's a matter of a waste of time. We've got so much to do. And yet you have people who invest so much energy and attention on what I consider to be a dead-end idea, a dead-end movement.
If we were to pay reparations today, we would only divide the country further. We would insult many black Americans.
So you see, all of these were people that came from somewhere else. That would be equivalent to me or one of you going to Jamaica or Nigeria or wherever these people came from and inserting myself into something that had been going on in their country for hundreds of years. And the issue here is that these people have no self-awareness. It apparently had not occurred to them that maybe they need to sit this one out, because maybe this is not
here that I don't think a lot of people know about. You see, apparently, Kamala Harris decided to add other groups to the Freedmen Bank. For those who are not aware, I'll break this down very quickly. She's going to explain this a little bit as well. The Freedmen Bank, it was created for freedmen, those who are free, were freed from slavery, those who are ADOS, and like their descendants, obviously, American descendants of slavery. That's what the Freedmen's Bank was created for. There's a reason why it's freedmen and not Black People Bank, right? So apparently last year, she decided to collaborate with the U.S. Department of Treasury and make changes to the Freedmen's Bank. Don't have to believe me. Here's her speech here, and then I'm going to show you the text to highlight some of the changes that have been made. And I think if you are freedmen, I think you're not going to be happy about this if you didn't know about it. Here we go.
So Freedmen's Savings Bank was founded by the United States Congress in 1865. It was a bank unlike any other our nation had known. Freedmen's Bank was established to serve Black Americans newly freed from slavery.
So notice once again, she tells you exactly what the bank was established for. So here is Kamala Harris openly admitting she knows who this bank was for. Let's go on.
To help them build wealth and to build a better future. At Freedman's, to open a savings account, you just needed 5 cents, which, as I've calculated, is about $1 today. In the years after its founding, tens of thousands of Black families opened an account at Freedman's. They saved up to buy a farm, to build a home, to open a business. Even school children saved their pocket money to deposit it in this institution. And then 9 years later, after the bank first opened its doors, because of an economic downturn and because of the organized assault on the project of Reconstruction, Freedman's Bank was forced to close. Over 60,000 people lost their savings. Now, Freedman's Bank was guided by a vision. The vision of an economy that works for all Americans and includes all Americans.
Let me pause. So you see what she's doing? Notice how includes all Americans. So this is something I do want to point out. A lot of times people bring up Black Wall Street, the burnings of Black Wall Streets. There are several different Black Wall Streets at that time. But a lot of times people bring that up as another example when freedmen lost their wealth in this country. But that's not the only example. This is another example here, the Freedman's Bank, where all those people lost their wealth. So just keep that in mind.
The vision of a nation in which all people have access to the financial resources they need to succeed, to thrive, and to determine their own future. Truly at the heart of that bank was the concept of self-determination. Over a century and a half later, in communities across our nation, that vision remains unrealized. Consider, today, Black entrepreneurs are 3 times more likely to report that they did not apply for a loan for fear of being turned away by a bank.
Pause. Do you see what she's starting to do? So now all of a sudden it went from freedmen to Black entrepreneurs. So there's a difference between Black and freed men. So you see what she's doing? Wait for it. It gets crazier. Watch this.
Often anecdotally, because they heard about that experience from friends and relatives. Today, Black and Latino homeowners are rejected by traditional financial institutions at a higher rate when applying for home loans.
Now, do you see what's happening here? Now she's added Latinos to the Freedman Bank situation. I'll say this again. The Freedman Bank was established for freed men, not Black people, not Latinos. But see what she's doing? I told you guys, she snuck this one under the radar. Everybody see this? Okay, let's continue.
And this is the case even when they have credit profiles similar to other applicants. Today, many immigrant business owners, including some Asian American business owners, face language barriers that limit their ability to access capital and banking services. And people who live in rural areas, including many Native Americans, often lack access to traditional financial services of any kind.
Now, that is true. She's correct about that. However, once again, notice she's adding another group to Freedman Bank. And here's the thing. I agree that all of those groups, yes, they do have struggle. They do have struggles that are different from those that are part of the majority, than the white majority. That is correct. I'm not here to tell you that they shouldn't receive some type of help. I believe they should receive some type of help. However, it should not be a part of the Freedmen's Bank. Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, when you notice when there is something specifically for another group, we're not added to it. When they passed the anti-Asian hate crime bill, we weren't added to that bill. These are the things I want you guys to pay attention to. Again, this is not to get you to feel some type of way towards other groups. I love all people. But in particular, when it comes to freed men, notice how, going back to the video we showed before, when she said, well, no, I'm not going to sit up here and do something specifically for Black people. No. Remember she said that? So here we go again with the Freedmen's Bank, something that was specifically for freedmen. And here she is adding other groups to it. What does that tell you about Kamala Harris? Let's continue.
So President Biden and I know that for our nation to succeed, these disparities must be spoken of, acknowledged, and addressed. One of the last actions, as you heard Secretary Yellen mentioned, I took as a United States Senator was to team up with Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Mark Warner and Senator Cory Booker and Chairwoman, Maxine Waters, to invest $12 billion in community lenders, which of course are financial institutions that predominantly do business in overlooked and underserved communities.
Now, did you listen to what she just said there? Good point here, Casey. She's going to take this bank from freedmen. So insidious, Obama. You call Kamala Obama? Okay, I haven't heard that one. I heard Kamala, but Obama is full of nothing but audacity and tricks. That's what I like this. Okay, I haven't heard of that one. That's a good one. All right. But notice what she's doing now. Now she's bringing in underserved communities. I mean, that could be anybody, right? Now underserved communities are being added to Freedmen's Bank. You see this? All right, let's continue.
Last month, I was proud to announce that because of that hard work and the work of many of the leaders in this room, our administration has distributed more than $8 billion of that investment to 162 community lenders across our nation. That is $8 billion on the ground in communities across our nation right now. And I'll share with you some of the examples. In North Dakota, Native American Bank lent $10 million to help fund an opioid addiction treatment facility on tribal lands. In Georgia, Carver Bank lent over $500,000 to help Black-owned companies build affordable housing. And in Mississippi, Hope Credit Union, led of course by the great Bill Bynum, lent $10,000 to a Black-owned and woman-owned coffee company to help them expand. And that's just one example of the incredible work that they do there. Since taking office, then I will tell you I have traveled our nation and spoken with small business owners who have received funds from community lenders. And I have seen what it means in terms of acknowledging, recognizing, and then feeding their ambition and aspiration and creativity.
This is another one. Thank you, Be Easy, for saying that as well. Black owned doesn't mean freedmen. See, you guys, we got to pay attention to the vocabulary that's being used.
Both in terms of their own aptitude and capacity, but also because they are in the best position to understand the needs and the capacity of their communities. And I've seen how they use that capital to hire people from the community, to open a new storefront on the main street, how they buy inventory from local businesses. The whole community benefits in one way or another, economically, not to mention psychically, from their presence. And at the same time, I have also seen how the great need for capital still remains in our country, meaning how much more work we still have yet to do. You know, I hope and know that everyone here does get the opportunity to travel our country. And from my travels, I will share with you, there are so many people in our country that have incredible dreams, fueled by their ambition, fueled by their aspiration, fueled by seeing what is possible and then going for it. But far too many still lack the resources and the support to make those dreams a reality. And what ends up happening then is these entrepreneurs cannot access capital to start a business.
So do you see how now this is all about being an entrepreneur and starting a business, which, by the way, everyone does not want to be an entrepreneur. Everyone does not want to, go into that field. And it's not for everyone. Let's be honest. Do you think that entrepreneurship is for everyone? Because I don't think it's for everyone, right? So you see what she's trying to do here, right? Okay. Let's look at some of the text here, because I just want to show you a couple of things. We're going to pull up this. Look, they've already changed, even in the title. This is the same event. Again, this is last year. Vice President Harris announces new efforts to expand capital access. Here we go with that word access again. And contracting opportunities for minority-owned and underserved businesses at the Freedman Bank Forum. So now a bank that was established and created for freedmen now is including all minorities and underserved businesses.
Their credit is so impeccable.
Oh, I see. They have like a 900.
Yeah. Oh. So they got the better than the best credit rating.
But isn't that like privatized communism or something? That's what it feels like.
Well, yeah, it's like socialism for the rich, and this is barbaric, merciless, ruthless, savage capitalism for the poor. The average home in our country 2 years ago was $215,000. Mm-hmm. Today it's $400,000. And so kids today, like your kids and my kids, are never going to buy a home. There's three big companies, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. These are the biggest companies. Those three companies own 88% of the S&P 500. Wow. So they basically just own everything. And now what they've decided is they want to own every single family home in our country. Klaus Schwab says, famously, he says, under the Great Reset, you will own nothing, but you will be happy. They pay nothing for money. Their credit is so impeccable.
Oh,